Give me a lot of Prince vibes. Not as far as Prince would go, because there's
You don't you don't
Prince is
you
a
don't got the ass out jeans.
no assless chaps. But he definitely pushes the boundaries.
Yeah, I was thoroughly surprised by how much I enjoyed this album. Just because I'd heard like a Harry Styles song here and there. Of course, the One Direction stuff, like you couldn't miss that. It was everywhere.
I
But
did.
yeah,
I live under hip hop rock, so I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole for the last 10 years. I had no idea what was going on with One Direction.
Let me put you on game.
about music, my brother. Let's talk about a new release. We're stepping outside of the box because we're diverse. We're going to review the new album from none other than Harry Styles. If you're not familiar with Harry Styles, he is an English singer, songwriter, and actor. He is famous for his dalliance, I suppose, with One Direction, who had a couple of smash hits before, he broke off and went solo.
A
He's
couple.
back with his, a couple, yeah, surely a couple, a few, some. um, yeah, he's back with his new album, Harry's House. This is gonna follow his last album, Fine Line. This is his third studio album. He's got a lot of grooves on here. He's heading in a different direction sonically. But how do you feel about it? How do you feel about Harry's House by Mr. Harry Styles?
I mean, first of all, Mr. Got, because that's what I'm gonna call him from now on, Mr. Got, because Harry got styles. He's
Wow.
gonna.
it's
um,
not it's not where I thought that was going, but I'm thoroughly unpleased with how that that ended up.
oh man, yeah, no, that was corny, but on a serious note, he's going to be the new Eros in the MCU universe, and I think he's a perfect casting for that role because he has that boy band look as well as being kind of a sex symbol for a younger audience. And as far as aesthetics go, he is really pushing, certain boundaries. He'd be repping the pride flag at concerts, and or he kind of dresses in a very dandyish way. Give me a lot of Prince vibes. Not as far as Prince would go, because there's Prince is a
you don't got the ass out jeans.
no assless chaps. But he definitely pushes the boundaries. And I mean, as far as this album, it he oozes talent on this project. It's bursting at the seams. I think he's brilliant in his execution of his style. He's a real talent that is a force to be reckoned with, and I understand the appeal. I'm glad we kind of crossed over. We decided to look into another artist from across the pond. We're into international music lovers now and music reviewers now, so our taste knows no borders. So yeah, I'm glad that we got a chance to sink our teeth into this project. How about you?
Yeah, I was thoroughly surprised by how much I enjoyed this album. Just because I'd heard like a Harry Styles song here and there. Of course, the One Direction stuff, like you couldn't miss that. It was everywhere.
I
But
did.
yeah,
I live under hip hop rock, so I I was playing this song. I think what is it called? Want You Better or Want You Make Me Better, something like that. I was like, this is the first time I'm
mm.
hearing this. My wife was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, man. I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole for the last 10 years. I had no idea what was going on with One Direction.
Yeah. I think I just heard some of their bigger hits, but yeah, I never really dived into a Harry Styles song. I knew Harry Styles more so like because of his public persona, like his history with like Taylor Swift and his public persona of his style of dress and the mysteries surrounding his sexuality because he doesn't really uh divulge if he's leaning one way or the other. So it's kind of like a mysterious things, and he has a absolutely huge fan base. So, it. I really had missed the whole train, so I was just kind of reviewing this just to take a shot in the dark because it was the biggest release at the time. But yeah, I really really enjoyed this album. I think it's really really fun. It's really enjoyable. It has a lot of charisma, a lot of flair. He's not by any means like reinventing the wheel. These are all sounds that we've heard from, whether you want to talk about there's certain elements of like R&B or funk or disco. There's a lot of genres that we're familiar with, but I think he does a lot of those genres service by actually releasing a really interesting and fun project. But let's get into it. How are you feeling about the first stretch of the album?
Oh man, he this is what made me a fan of him. I mean, music for a sushi restaurant, my God. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I instantly fell in love with the sound. I mean, a fantastic opener. It really gave me strong Prince vibes. Whereas as far as the sopranos and the high notes that he hit, it was groovy. It was exciting. It was triumphant with the horns on the hook and the sexy bass chords during the verses. Never have I heard an anthem for sushi, but this song definitely embodies the feeling of awesomeness that comes with going to a nice sushi restaurant, getting that spicy mayo and a nice dragon roll. You know what I mean? Like it definitely takes you and transports you into that world. Just excellent track. And then he does it again with late night talking. It's a slight momentum shift, but the energy is still there. He discusses wanting, to be there for his partner and having those like long late night conversations that we often get into when we find a new love interest and we're just like, enthralled to hear everything that we can about them. It was a breath of fresh air to hear and for someone to talk about new love. So the steady chords, the bright synths, the vocal harmonies created a really well crafted song. I see this being played in retail songs across malls in America as this whole album. I mean, you could just put this whole album on a mall playlist and it'll play well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is gonna go crazy in Forever 21.
Oh yeah, 100%. But then going into Grape Juice, I enjoyed the mix of sustained piano keys. It was a really steady pace of bass and electric guitar chords. I thought the vocal manipulation of him speaking through the phone on the verses was a nice touch as well. He's really a lover boy, and I think that is his lane right now. It's nice to hear this kind of music because it embodies a certain type of innocence that I feel like is missing in popular culture nowadays. And the title of this song begs that kind of innocence because for me, it reminisces a simpler time in life. Grape juice. If this was done by a black artist, it would be called Grape Drink, but he's from the UK, so we call it Grape Juice. you, you're muted, bro. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh yeah, just coming with the hits today, bro.
But
Coming
yeah,
with the
man.
hits.
Yeah, it was a nice opening three tracks for me. How about you?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a really cool opening. I love Harry leaning into the zany production on music for a sushi restaurant. The really harmonic, papas on the instrumentation was really cool. It was very like you said Prince. I also heard like some '80s like David Bowie as
Mm,
well.
yeah.
Some '70s pop music. The trumpets on there were great. Late night talking, I think that's one of the biggest earworms of the year for sure. It was definitely stuck in my head like all week. I love the chorus and the real punchiness of the beat, and I think they work really well together. Grape Juice, I really like that one as well. I love the chorus and the slow walking keys throughout, and the rhythm guitar is a really nice touch. As it was is kind of where the album gets more even more fun, I think. The playful keys and synths, the drums create a really nice bounce. Harry's discussing like a lonely past and how different things are for him now. It's a really cool song about like transformation and things not being as it was. uh Daylight was dope. I really like the way the vocal sample is kind of interspersed throughout the chorus. I love the pounding synth in contrast to the very calm, soothing verses. He's kind of reflecting on a really past toxic relationship here, and that leads right into Little Freak. I love the harmonies on the chorus. The bass is a really nice, subtle touch, and the chorus, along with that cascading acoustic guitar. And then he gets into Matilda. I really like this one. The really stripped back approach with the piano gives Harry a more of a chance to showcase his vocals because his vocals are kind of buried in the production for a lot of the album, but he kind of gets to showcase his tender side with this song. And I love the subject matter of him comforting someone whose family doesn't really treat them well, and that kind of leads us into side B. But what do you think about this stretch?
Yeah, this is a really strong stretch for me as well. I mean, as it was, I think this is a nice upbeat pop rock tune. Definitely gave me strong '80s vibes with the synths and the tempo and the chord and as well as the percussion elements. It was a nice ebb and flow, and the bridge work on a lot of this project is just spectacular as well. Um, Especially on a song like Daylight, very spacey. I like the climax of the song with the crashing cymbals. Little Freak. This song, I thought he has a few tracks on this project that I feel like you can listen to or they're perfect like slow dance songs were it
Yeah.
not for the subject matter, because they don't really speak towards either slow dancing or walking down an aisle or a first dance track. Um, but it definitely gave off, feelings of regret, and coupled with actually fun memories in some ways. So I love that element. I echo your sentiments on Matilda. Really great in terms of the piano and just giving access to his layered vocals. He does so much layering and harmonies on this project. It's really a blast. But then getting into this next stretch at Cinema, it was really a very funky cut on the project. I love me some bass chords, and this song leans into that with the electric guitar and the synths in the background. It was real groovy. His songwriting here is like simple, but it's really well executed. I thought he does a lot with relatively straightforward songwriting, which I think he writes a lot of his music, so that's really nice to hear and to see his holistic approach to artistry. Um, and the metaphorical aspect of cinema on this track, I feel like he's gonna single-handedly turn that into a term now. Daydreaming, I thought this really worked in such a groove. I like how his music has sounds from like different eras, but no two tracks are so alike that it becomes stale. The refrain on this track, I thought it was non-verbal, but it was really nice with the oohs and the ahs. It gets you moving and grooving. And as always, again, great with the vocal harmonies, the bass chords, and a really sunny disposition overall. Keep driving. Out of like some stellar songs, this is just a decent song. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
buried on the last half of the track. It's sweet and serene. The bridge is nice. It's a nice pace, but it isn't really spectacular when compared to some of the songs around it. Satellite, he brings the heat again here, though. I love the slow build up of the chorus on the track, and I love the pace that it takes on once it gets into the chorus. I think he has a great sense of rhythm and a feel for R&B that is authentic. And I thought he did a great job on this track in particular of like leaning into that in some sections, but then segueing it into like a alt soft rock kind of thing on the bridge that was just like really powerful. But this was a nice stretch of the project for me.
Yeah, I think this I think he has a bit of a run for me as well that I enjoyed. Cinema, I had to check if it was produced by Daft Punk
Mm.
or not, just because it sounds like go listen to Something About Us off of their album, I think Discovery. The distortion on the guitars they use is pretty much exactly the same. So I had to check like if it was a Daft Punk track, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really love where he takes it on the second half of the track. Uh, he really sells it, especially like with some of his own background vocals. Super groovy track. Daydreaming, I love this one. This is one of my favorites. It's super, super catchy. Um, you can really hear the Quincy Jones disco influence.
Mm.
So it's not really surprising when you actually see that he's one of the writers on the song,
Oh
which is
wow.
really cool. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of the Quincy Jones solo stuff. Yeah, the little playful harmonies, like you said, the ba 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 ba. That shit
Yeah.
is so it's so infectious. It's really really cool.
Yeah.
I love how he uses like little playful, like almost like nursery rhyme style or nursery song style like interpolations throughout the tracks. Funky guitar and really charismatic contributions from Harry as well. You can hear him like almost yelling in falsetto in the background on the latter half, and I think it works really well. Keep driving, like you said, it is a very like slow plodding song. It's pleasant. It's a track that you might not go back to listen to on its own, but it's fine, I guess, in the context of the album. Satellite is super groovy. I love Harry's falsetto on the chorus. The crescendo on the second half really completes the track. uh Boyfriends is very different. Again, it's not one of my favorites here. I think Harry excels a lot more in the more up-tempo dance tracks than he does on the slower, more acoustic tracks for me. um it's a different feel from what is essentially a country song
Hmm.
minus the twang. But yeah, it's his vocal harmonies are nice, but it's not a bump on the track list, but it's fine. um Love of My Life was okay as a closer. I think it was fine. Again, nothing really jumps out at me, but yeah, I think overall with the album, I think Harry does well for me when he leans more into the disco and the dance and the more charismatic upbeat songs that has the flair that he has when he's dressing. I think those are the songs that I lean more towards. But how about you?
Yeah, I thought the last two tracks weren't the quintessential things that made me fall in love with him in the first part and then some of the middle spots of the project. But I also feel that he showed some diversity here. He showed his his songwriting chops, and he showed that he's capable of jumping into different lanes sonically. And I like that it was a change of pace. It's interesting how artists can choose to, even though something doesn't particularly mesh well with the rest of their project in terms of like the progression of sound, they still want to show you something that you haven't seen before from them and talk about things that are personal and near dear to their heart. So for me, that's endearing, and I like that he added these songs on the back end of the project overall.
Yeah, I think he has to show that diversity. You can't just have all dance tracks, but I think the slower tracks, I don't know, there's something missing from them
Hmm.
for me, despite the subject matter. Um, but yeah, overall, small gripes aside, I think it's a really, really solid project, an album that surprised the hell out of me as far as its enjoyment level. It's this and the Kendrick album as far as, Spotify creates those playlists of what you've had on repeat for the last, week. And it's just
Yeah,
that and Mr. Morale make up like 3/4 of that playlist. So
yeah,
shout out to Harry Styles for getting into my ear and into my brain as much as he has with this project. But
yeah.
yeah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, hey, both of these artists between Kendrick and Styles are among the top 200 Billboard listens and streams or whatever of the year. Alongside Adele, The Weeknd, and so we are seeing a very big year as far as music goes, with some of these artists really taking a really owning the charts. And I'm glad that it's the big names that are showing up and showing out. As much as I love some of the smaller guys who make good music, these once these behemoths drop, we understand the bar for excellence that you have to get to in order to crack into that top 10. So he's there for a reason.
Yeah, definitely. I see the hype. I'm excited to see where he grows from here as an artist, because I'm sure he's continuing to distance himself from the boy band aesthetic. So I'm interested to see where his sound goes and where he takes it, because I think this is a really good step musically for him. But yeah, let me get three favorite tracks.
Yeah, this is tough. I like a lot of this project, but for me, uh, I gotta go three out of the first four. So, music for a sushi restaurant, late night talking, and as it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. Late night talking and as it was, but I gotta go daydreaming.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's gotta make the list. It might make the year end list. So
Okay.
so it's gotta be on there. If you had to recommend this to our listeners on a scale of must listen to hard pass, what would you recommend?
I feel like I've been really generous this year. Stingy in some spots, but generous overall. I think this product is a bona fide must listen, man. I think his voice is lovely. He has a great sense of melody, great for the vocal harmonies, just excellent. I think like I said, he writes a lot of his music, and although the subject matter can be somewhat repetitive, like Pusha T, he does it so well that you don't mind going back to it for that kind of project. And I thought he gave you enough variety sonically on this project to keep things fresh to prevent it from being stale. And this is just a very, very good, easy, accessible listen that is simultaneously high quality. So, it's a must listen. I listen to this album front to back very easily.
Yeah, I think it's almost like a palate cleanser from the Kendrick album because that's
Mm.
so dense and there's so much going on that it was nice to just kind of like just yeah, as great as the Kendrick album is, I think it was nice to just unplug with something that's a little bit more simple. So I'm gonna have to go must listen as well. I think it's really, really interesting. Again, he's not reinventing the wheel. He's not doing anything we haven't heard. He's not innovating in that way, but he's doing something really fun and creative with a sound that we're all very, very familiar with through our upbringing and through movie soundtracks and just listening to different genres and eras as well. So yeah, shout out to Harry Styles. I think it's a really interesting, fun, and lovable debut from a guy that has a ton of popularity, and now I can see the reason why. So
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. The stamp. He gets a stamp, bro. The PYOG.
PYOG, stamp of approval. It's official. Harry Styles, Harry's House. I think we both approve and we're both enjoying it. I'll be interested to see where it ends up on a year-end list if it does. But as of right now, it has the Put You on Game stamp approval. Mark it down. It deserves it.
Yeah, man, 100%. There's been a lot of good music this year. So this year-end playlist, this year-end album, best albums of the year, that's gonna be tough. There's gonna be a lot of deserving, would be deserving, but stars who missed out this year when it comes to kind of the best albums and things at the Grammys next year. So I can't wait to see how that evolves.
Yeah, for sure. That'll do it for this review. Thank you so much for checking in with us. Let us know what you thought about the Harry Styles album. Do you think it's one of the best albums of the year? Are you as enamored with it and listening to it as much as we are? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for checking out this segment of the Put You on Game podcast, where we discuss everything from hoops to hi-hats.
Give us your thoughts on the video in the comment section, and you can also find the full podcast in the link in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.